Hey, David McGuffin here. Welcome to Travel Talk Tuesday for September the 12th, 2023. Tonight, we're talking about Charlotte and my experience that we had back in May of this year in Tanzania, or as we say, Tanzania, on a safari in the Serengeti. But boy, we had a great adventure back in May, the middle part of May, going to Tanzania, and going on a safari. Some friends of ours who we work with and we're neighbors with at our travel and adventure shows that we do in the spring, or in the winter, in the spring, January, February, March, and April. We go across the country and we show up on the Saturdays and Sundays at different convention centers, and we have a table there and sell trips, exploring Europe's trips to all these people that show up and talk to us. A great time that we have, but we have some friends there too who offer tours elsewhere and do other things. And one of these guys are the McKay family, who are along with some folks in Tanzania and have built a luxury safari camp in the Serengeti. So we were in on the ground floor of that and went down and were there for the construction of the safari camp. And we did safari for 4 days as well. So I've got about 49 minutes, I think, of video today. So I'm gonna quit talking so much and let this thing run. And then I'll talk on top of it all. So here I am sharing my screen right here. And let's go to Tanzania. So Charlotte and I did leave from Jacksonville, Florida, and flew to Detroit. We had a short layover in Detroit, which if you don't go to the Detroit airport, it's a pretty nice one now, not so crowded, and got great flights to Europe, directly to Amsterdam. And we showed up in Amsterdam the next morning early. We were able to check into our room at the Hilton at the Amsterdam airport, and pretty much just chilled out the entire day. We did not leave the airport. Charlotte and I both have been to Amsterdam many times, so we didn't feel the need to go sightseeing or anything else. So we had a great time. We had dinner right there in the Amsterdam airport at a wonderful restaurant. The sun went down, we went to sleep. It came back up the next morning, and we got out and got on a KLM flight to Kilimajaro, all the way down another 8 hours or so to Kilimanjaro airport in the town of Arusha, near the Arusha. So Tanzania, as I mentioned, is how we're saying it in Swahili, is Tanzania. So there we go. We arrive at the airport. It's night, about 11 o'clock at night. We have to go through this kind of very, very antiquated customs area. And then we go about an hour's drive to this wonderful resort called River Trees Luxury Resort. And or Country Inn, I think is what it's called. And we show up about 12:30, 1 o'clock. And this is our actually concrete block building, wonderfully appointed. This was the best accommodations we had in the country. Next morning we woke up, we looked around the property. There's the pool there. This is our little duplex apartment, which had the bathroom and one big bedroom. You saw that. And a common area outside where I did my work, got my cappuccino, and breakfast, a full buffet breakfast. That morning was a Saturday morning, and so a lot of the neighbors came in and had a market there where you could come and purchase all kind of handmade crafts from the people who lived in this town called Arusha, and nearby the town as well. I can't remember the name of that. I'll get it in a minute. Usa River is what it is. So this is the River Trees Country Inn right here where we are. Very, very good food, great service. It's wonderful. This is their garden. I walked out into that, and they grow their own produce and everything else there. And this is looking out beyond the borderline of the resort area. So we took a drive around. This is it, USA River. It looks like USA River, but USA River and Arusha town. This volcanic mountain back there is called Mount Meru. Now, we were totally shocked and surprised at the way in which everyone had a happy-go-lucky life. They loved it. And but for us, it's just a different way of living. Mostly dirt roads, mostly wooden homes and buildings with thatched roofs, maybe tin roofs. And so here are some of the images that we saw as we drove around this area. We came up to this gentleman. He was an artist, Robert Aswani, and he drew those paintings there. We even purchased one, and we've got that to show too, because it's a beautiful painting that we purchased from him. But here we are on the main road right here in the largest town in this area of Arusha. There was a museum there of a lot of artifacts that have been gathered throughout the centuries. But this is the main town square right here. You can see the little three-legged vehicles, a lot of motorcycles, and a lot of buses that pack in. It maybe hold 20 people, but there's about 60 inside that. This is the main shopping mall in this USA River area. Here are these buses. They just go up and down the street. They're like taxis, and people pile in to transfer from one location to the other. You see how everything is brightly painted on those vehicles? And the crazy thing is, most of the messages on there were Christian messages about accept Jesus Christ and God is your only salvation, and that type of thing, which we found very odd, because you would never see that here at home. From there, we got on a 12-passenger airplane, and we flew for about an hour and 45 minutes or so to the Serengeti, to the Serenona Airstrip. Serenona Airstrip. This is the main airport in Arusha, the international airport. We found this is interesting, Wuhan, and the acronym for things to do with keeping the virus away from you. Here's our plane. There was 10 of us, I think, getting on 12-passenger aircraft. We took off and we just flew like crazy up to about 1,200 feet or so, 1,200 feet or so across the plains. I don't know why it's dark here, but I'll move on a little quicker. So you can see there is not much in the way of elevation gain or anything. But just back behind us in the opposite direction is Mount Kilimajaro, which is over 14,000 feet, if not well over 14,000 feet. And there's also other volcanic mountains there as well. There is a extinct volcanic crater, which we're flying over here. And this is where a particular type of people live there called the Maasai. They have their nomadic camp. So they feel their goal in life is to move from one spot to the other. They believe cows are very important in life, and their life goal is to raise cattle and to move from one location to the other. So we've landed on the Serenona Airstrip in the Serengeti. Okay, the eagle has landed. Hey, David McGuffin here. We have arrived on the Serengeti for a safari for a few days. This is our airstrip, and we're just checking this thing out to see what's beyond Europe for our adventures. So Charlotte and I are going to be here for a few days with some of our friends, and hope you enjoy the adventure of safari in the Serengeti. Seronera. We'll see a lot of these wildebeest. They migrate through this entire region. Their entire goal in life is to run from one spot to the other and back again, over and over and over. Airstrip, Serengeti National Park. We are in this park for real. The airstrip is just here. Beautiful day. My goodness, probably about 75 degrees or so. Couldn't ask for better weather.
So because of the wind,
This is our guide, Patrick, here in the front, driving and guiding. First thing we saw was a little hyena on the side of the road. And he's looking back and said, "What are you looking at?" The typical tree and landscape with the grasslands. Then we came upon this pond and this river called the hippopotamus. Now, if I could pump in the smell, you would be running right now. Because as one of the passengers here, another David, was saying that they put out some sort of particular type of gas that activates, becomes active with water, and it makes such a pungent smell. So here comes a whole big tour bus, Intrepid Tours. I did this because it was packed out with 30 people. And I wanted to show you that because we are in a vehicle with, well, there's 4 of us in there, but 6 of us sometimes, but 4 of us. It's like a Land Cruiser or a Toyota. Then the top pops off of it. So ossicons are the name of their antlers, their horns. And the females have smaller ones. The males have larger ones with round balls on the end of them. We saw a lot of giraffes. Actually, there is the big 5 of, and we saw we saw everything but a hippopotamus during our safari. This is our meal. This was a wonderful salad we had, which was a mango and avocado salad. And I was going to make that tonight, but I couldn't find the mangoes here. So I'm going to try to do it because Charlotte's duplicated that one time before. This is our camp. And you can see it looks pretty good. It's a tent. And this particular one has a very heavy duty plastic visqueen floor, about a 45 mil or so. And this is the outside of it. These are the vehicles that we were in the whole time. So there was 4 of us in. Here's a Cape buffalo that we saw as we went out after lunch.
Every once in a while.
And we're told that those are mean. So we never got out of the vehicle anywhere.
So what was the name of this one?
Oh, okay. Charlotte's watching elsewhere, and we saw plenty of hippo. We did not see the rhino. Is the big 5 that we did not see, the rhino. And another little lion, a Cape, here the Cape buffalo. You can see we're right next to them. I'm told that these animals, you know, they're wild, but I'm told that they see these vehicles just as some foreign object, like maybe a spaceship or something passing by, and give it no notice. But if you were to climb out, it might be a problem. I believe this camp was called the Singing Trees, and this was after dinner. And this is the staff there, and it happened to be Charlotte's birthday. So they're doing their dance and their song, Hakuna Matata, and bringing Charlotte a birthday cake. Everybody was just so personable. You can see how happy they are, all in. Patrick there in the red shirt, he was our guide for the entire week. So finally to bed, up early the next morning, sunrise, that's our view from the porch. Our whole mission was to go and see wild animals. So every day was a drive throughout the Serengeti to see game. I can't remember the name of this bird, but they were all over the place. We got the name of it finally. You can just see how wide open it is. The endless plains, I think, is how Serengeti translates in Swahili. These are wildebeest. And you can see we encounter these all the time, and just thousands of them. And all they do is run. They never, I don't know, maybe they stop sometime, but they just run. They migrate from south to north and then back again from north to south, and do that their entire lifespan. They have to sometime have time to procreate, but I don't know when that is, because we never saw any of them stop. Except you will see one dead in the water, or just dead in a few minutes. We came across this lion up in a tree here, lioness up in a tree.
She puts her legs on both sides. That's so good.
And we would stop, or the top would always be popped up, but we would stand up on the seats and take photos. Of course, you never would get out of the vehicle that we were in. And, you know, the video that I'm taking is all with my iPhone, but there were other people that had 35mm cameras, digital cameras with long lens. Charlotte had a 300 lens, and she was always complaining that I didn't let her buy the 400. So the next time we go, I'm sure she'll get that or even longer to get in. But a lot of these photos are hers as well. That was a Cape Buffalo. Here are with the giraffes and this, maybe I think it's a Thompson gazelle here in front of us. You know, we live in Florida, and so I was joking, like, you know, it's kind of like going to the animal kingdom in Disney World and driving in the Serengeti, because you see the same animals there. Although these are really wild animals out in the middle of nowhere.
What are they called? Oh, now I know. It truly is what I look like. When I'm doing that.
We were laughing at this young one, the legs spread out so they could reach down and get some grass. Normally, they only eat the trees.
Olive baboon, yeah.
Baboons.
One in the tree over there.
Let's see. Baboon. I got a lot of Swahili words I wrote down here.
One is green.
Baboons are yani, nyani. Like gnocchi, nyani.
Oh, they're rather significant. Right. Ah, so funny, the one in the. Mm-hmm. There's a baby. There's a boy. One in the tree, so funny. She gave us her.
And here is another lioness that we came across.
They feed those snakes.
All snakes,
It's area something. It's a
and
Yeah, the wings.
okay, so these wildebeest are walking, and we noticed, I guess we're looking at this bird. But behind him is a wildebeest along, and zebras seem to hang out with the wildebeest. An elephant is Timbo, Timbo, Timbo. We saw quite a few elephants, even some lonely male elephants that were shunned from the herd. Here's a lion we encountered just off the road. This is me videoing with my iPhone. But just like a normal cat, kind of laying around looking at you without a care in the world. Charlotte and I, we went to another camp for 2 more nights or 3 more nights. And this is that particular camp. And all the camps are, I'll tell you a little bit about it in situ, in the site, a little bit later on, but they're all situated with living quarters and then a mess tent. And that also has maybe a bar and a central gathering room. All of them have private bathrooms. All of the rooms have private bathrooms, cold and hot running water, electricity, but no air conditioning to speak of. Well, no air conditioning. Another morning with the baboons. Yanni. They're out in the sunlight. And a giraffe is Twiga. And do you know what that one is? Elephant. Timbo. Now, this is about the most people we saw at one whack. Everybody came up here because we came across. We've been here a couple of days, and this is the first time we've seen a traffic jam of a whole lot of safari vehicles, including us, because back here in this tree behind me that everyone's photographing is a back over here behind me is a leopard that has its kill up in the tree as well. So this is a safari, Tanzania safari Serengeti traffic jam, watching one animal devour its breakfast. Hey, this is a totally different adventure for me, but I hope you enjoy following me along. Your adventure starts right here with David McGuffin. I'm not exploring Europe, but I'm in Africa. So this leopard has drug I think a wildebeest up into the tree. And from what I understand from our guide, Patrick, and several others we encountered, that this is kind of unusual that you encounter animals with their food and actually gnawing on it and eating on it. They usually go away from roads and everything else. So this one, you see the leopard, he says, I'm tired of people looking at me with the tree. I'm bringing the whole carcass down and going to go hide in the grass. The wildebeest. What? I wonder what happened. They're standing still.
I think they're going, huh? Huh? What?
But you notice that the zebra are there with them as well. You notice how the terrain is just like grasslands, small little trees. There they are running. They're on the left-hand side of our vehicle. Just, they were thousands and thousands and thousands of these wildebeest. I often wonder if they want, somebody says, okay, I'm the leader today. Everybody follows me. I'm the line leader. So here we are in our vehicle, and look what's in our way. And, you know, that elephant is a lot larger than we are. And he's a lone male out by himself, probably been shunned by his, I don't know, what do you call them, a tribe or whatever you call a group of elephants. And so we just pulled over. And he said, well, I'm gonna give you a wide berth and just walk around you. You can't do that at the zoo in your hometown. We had a bottle of wine one day. And so we brought that along with our picnic lunch. And so we toasted the elephants and the zebras here at this little pond. We went, oh my gosh, I bet we went 50 miles away from our camp, way back to the north, to the south, I think. And we were in search of, is this what we were looking for? Yeah, these cheetahs. And we had heard the tour guide, Patrick, they all have a CB radios, you know, like 10-4 good buddy, but they were all speaking in Swahili, so I never heard any of that. But they would, everybody would say, okay, there may be this here, and people take off and start going that way. But we drove way, 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 way away to see those cheetahs there. It's a hyena, I believe. And I took this, and we kind of went around this rock too. You know, it's got like a lion pride, a pride of lions there, and it looks like stuff you'd see in the movie The Lion King or down at Busch Gardens in Tampa or the Animal Kingdom. But I was just amazed with that. Then at near the end of the day, we came across this lioness up in a tree, beautiful. The sun was shining right on her, and everybody got such great photos of her just sitting up there relaxing with her belly hanging down. Probably had a big lunch. And then lo and behold, on the way back to our camp, we're trying to get back because things kind of shut down at 7:30. We're supposed to be off the road, but these animals kept popping up. So here's a lioness with 2 cubs, we thought, but wait, here come a few more. And so we're right there at her. She's not, I guess if a human would have stepped out of the car, we would have been dead meat.
Wow.
But they just look at us like nonchalantly. And this was for me probably the best photo I took at the whole time. And we just encountered this with the sunset and the sun being just in the right spot for these zebra or giraffes that we got here on our way back to our camp. Look at you. Looking right at it. And then, gosh, we gotta go, it's getting dark. And then we come up with these, with the husband and wife line. You know, Simba and what is it? Nala, Simba and Nala. I'm looking at my notes here. And look at them, we're right there waiting, get out of the road. Move it. Up early, very early in the morning, 4 o'clock or so.
Hey, David McGuffin here. We are on an adventure right now. We're starting our hot air balloon ride here in the Serengeti. Our Captain Jones is related to our tour guide here. We're going to just have a wonderful time over the place of the Serengeti. We had to get up about we had to leave about 4:20 and then head on back over here. Took about an hour and a half or so to get to the launching site. And we're about ready to hop in this basket and take off. Here's my Charlotte, Brenda, David over there, Honey. It looks like the balloon is about ready to go.
So the basket is laying down on the ground and there's shelves in it. So when it turns up, there's partitions. So Charlotte's getting in the bottom, Annie got into the shelf on the middle. And so you have to do that in order to get in. And then once the balloon fills up with air, it tilts it up.
Right?
Very exciting. Stop.
Looks like the sun moving. Here, I'm looking through.
No, I think don't move. Yeah.
So here we go. I think we're off the ground.
Wow. Oh my God, this is insane.
You can see where I was bundled up with everything I brought.
Welcome.
So here we go. Across the Serengeti. I've never done a hot air balloon.
Just a flight from the sky.
Our pilot, named Jones. He was a relative, the brother of one of the gentlemen that is working on the camp we're going to see soon, the dancing Duma. This is probably the only time I'll ever do a hot air balloon ride. I mean, I loved it. There was nothing scary at all about it. And I cannot imagine doing it anywhere else but here. You can't see down below, but there's wildebeest running all over the place and zebras. But you can just kind of gives you a bird's eye view of the Serengeti and to see why they call it the unending grasslands. I think there was maybe 6 balloons that went up at the same time. You don't hear no one saying anything. We're just in awe of the whole thing. Here we come across the river that runs through there where the hippopotamus are. See the shadow of our balloon there. Pretty good photo for an iPhone. The name of the river is the same as the name of the airport, Serenona. And this balloon landed a bit before us. You see them down.
Body.
They did a soft landing and landed upright. we didn't get to film our landing because we had to get down and we did what's called a drag landing. And so the balloon, we went down basically horizontal to the ground, perpendicular to the ground, and drug for about 20 or 30 feet. We're all safe and sound, not a problem at all. And then the trucks who were chasing the balloons came and immediately collapsed the balloons and got us all out. And then we all got together with Captain Jones and had some non-alcoholic champagne because it was like 7:30 in the morning. And but we all toasted a great time on the hot air balloons. What an experience we had there. So if you're ever entertaining doing it, reserve it for some kind of a safari in Africa. It was amazing.
She deserves. Yeah.
Then they took us to this place and they had a big spread of what we know as an English breakfast. All the fixings, like sausages, ham, all kind of eggs, black and white pudding, tomatoes, baked beans, all that kind of stuff that you would know as an English breakfast. I think they're celebrating the birthday weeks of people who had a birthday. There's Charlotte there and there's Paul here. Do you see how happy they are? All the time, even when they're working, they make the most of it. Fun. It's just amazing. So our friends, along with some folks in the Serengeti, are building this camp called the Dancing Duma. So that is Duma is the cheetah, so the Dancing Cheetah Camp. And we happened when they were under construction. We really thought we were going to get to stay here at least one of the nights, but delivery was slow. They had to like 6 hours driving through the night to deliver products out in the middle of nowhere. As you can see, it's in a national park. So you are, you can't use power equipment. Everything's got to be done by hand. They did have a battery powered, like a battery powered skill saw, but there's nothing like that. There's a small little generator. But you can see the camp going up. I've got their logo, Dancing Duma, there because I want to promote it. And when and if we ever do a safari, we're going to be staying at this camp because it has a beautiful view back to the west of the sunset. And this is just a couple of weeks after we left there. They've got it all set up, the Dancing Duma luxury safari camp. And we're definitely going to go back there. That's for sure. The water, hot and cold running water, electricity. There's a Robert Aswani photo on the wall back there, or a painting on the wall. And I was going to try to show you a video, but I'm just going to refer you to dancingduma.com. For their video of the camp because it's beautiful. And then we're almost at the end of it because then we left there and we went and you saw all these vehicles, those guys with those long lenses, those must be like 800 lenses. And here we are with another, is this a cheetah? A cheetah, I think. A cheetah with a wildebeest. So the second kill, do you see the wildebeest? This one's not running at all. And so there was about 10 different safari vehicles that accumulated around here because so unusual to see that. And we were excited to see that as well, although, you know, an animal was killed, but that's the way of life. And so that's how God made all those creatures. This is a bus I wanted to show you. It's loaded to the Intrepid Tour Company with about 30 people on this bus that drove by us several times during that day. Keep in mind, we got 4 in a vehicle. So it's quite a bit smaller group.
Hey, David McGuffin here, sunset on the Serengeti. Behind me is an example of some of the luxury tents that we've been staying in the last 4 or 5 days here. Really nice, roomy things, a bedroom, writing area, sitting area, bathroom, shower. Pretty nice. And you can see sunset on the Serengeti here. We've had a really long day today. We were out ballooning out the door here this morning at 4:20 and on the balloon somewhere around 6:30 or so for a great event. And then we're just pretty much doing a great game drive the rest of the day. And so we've packed in a whole lot in the last few days here in the Serengeti. These tents, as I mentioned, are pretty nice. Got all the comforts of home. Not so much in the way of air conditioning though, but we haven't needed it too much, although we haven't been here during the day. But other than that, we are really impressed with the luxury tent camps that we've been in. Food has been wonderful. The service has been fantastic. And I'll come back with a more detailed thing, but I just wanted to let you see the sunset here on the Serengeti. The 3 camps that we have visited have been set up in the same manner. All of these are tents, luxury tents. Some are situated on planks, a raised platform like ours here. Some are situated on the ground with a heavy duty floor. And like I say, all the luxuries of home. And some of the tents are family tents, which have 2 bedrooms, 2 living spaces, 2 bathrooms. Most of them are double tents. So it has a double bed in it or a king size, queen size bed, let's say. And sitting area out front and everything. So we really have enjoyed staying here. And then farther beyond, I'll show that tonight when we go, is a lounge and a bar and also a dining hall. And those are really nice and well appointed as well. One of the things here, after dark, all of these luxury camping sites, tent sites, require that you be escorted from point A to point B. So from our room right here to the cook area or the bar, anything else, just because we're on a wildlife park, a national wildlife park, and everybody has seen wild animals everywhere. And just right out in here, there could be a leopard or a lion or any other hyena or any other kind of thing standing out there 10 feet into the grass. So anyway, just a little information here about these luxury tenting sites.
Sadly, we have to go. So the next morning we got up. There was 13 of us. So I took the co-pilot seat. So I'm sitting right here. I got to get this up close with David McGuffin here, high above the Serengeti plains. I got the pleasure of sitting up here with the pilot. So I'm the co-pilot, touching nothing, of course. I've got a bird's eye view of what it's like to be in the front. Here. And back in Arusha, that's our group. Then back to the river trees Country Inn. A great, we were there all day and at night, and then we had to leave about, our flight was at 11:05 that night. So we were here all day. We got to finish up, same place we started, able to chill out and just kind of relax, have dinner together with our friends there. And one last time in the Serengeti, Arusha, or USA River. Such a tranquil spot right here. In the morning, you could get up and monkeys were all over. the
Hey,
place.
David McGuffin here, my final hours here in Tanzania. Tanzania, as we call it at home in the USA. I'm at a oasis of a resort here in near Arusha. Actually, the little community is called Uso River. And this is the River Trees Resort. And we've had the pleasure of staying here one night before going to the Serengeti for a safari. And a night and a day at the tail end of our tour before we fly back to Amsterdam later tonight. But this place is fantastic. Like I say, an oasis of a resort. So I want to show you around some of the places here with some still photos, so you'll know exactly what to expect when you come and visit with us.
There's always a campfire at all the places we visit.
Hey, we're preparing to get on our flight, KLM flight, back to Amsterdam from here at the Kilimajaro International Airport. This is the Twiga, or the Giraffe Aspire Lounge here. It is the first air-conditioned space we've been in since we arrived here about 8 days ago. That's not to say anything bad about what we've experienced. And but I just wanted to let you know that when you show up in Tanzania and the Serengeti, forget about AC, but there's a lot of luxury and a whole lot of wildlife to see. I hope you can come visit here with us one day in the near future. Hey, your adventure starts right here with David McGuffin's Exploring Beyond Europe.
Back on the plane, we arrived in Amsterdam the next morning around 8 o'clock. So that wraps it up. I thank you guys for sticking with us today on Travel Talk Tuesday. I'm going to be off for the next 2 or 3 weeks. I'm heading next Tuesday night. I'll be in Dublin, finishing up our last Taste of Ireland and Best of Ireland tour. We'll be back in country in the United States on the 3rd, 4th October, and then we'll do a couple of episodes of Travel Talk Tuesday after that. Thank you guys for hanging in there with us tonight. And until next time, I'll see you later from Middleburg, Florida.